What's up, everybody? Jonathan Big Country Richards here. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Listen, I want to talk about something that honestly is kind of uncomfortable to talk about, but it's something that we need to talk about, and that's anxiety or panic attacks. How many of you guys have experienced anxiety in your life or had a moment where panic attack took over and it just lost control and you didn't know exactly how to get out of it, and it controlled your entire day, maybe your entire week, month, or even year? The truth is that we all experience anxiety at some point in our lives. And I'm today going to show you 3 different techniques that will help soothe that anxiety or potentially get you out of a panic attack. If not for good, at least long enough to regain control. Okay? But before we go into those techniques, I think it's important to understand where anxiety and these panic attacks come from. The truth is that our mind is an incredible muscle. It is constantly moving, it's constantly turning. It takes in over 2 million pieces of information a day. That's a lot, right? Subconsciously, you don't know that it's doing it, but it absolutely is. So when we take that and we add stress or fear on top of that, it creates this chaos in our mind, right? And keeps it constantly turning. How many of you guys lay down at night and your mind is just constantly moving, right? And you can't seem to just close your eyes and go to sleep because you're thinking about this or that or this or that, or maybe you're stressed about this or you got to do this tomorrow, whatever. This is anxiety or panic, and it happens. The easiest way to do it, though, is give our brain what it needs, the nutrients it needs. And all 3 of these techniques that I'm about to share with you provide those nutrients. So if you understand that the brain is a muscle and it needs nutrients, right? The number 1 nutrient it needs is oxygen. Foremost, that's what it needs. Just like the rest of your muscles need nutrients in order to grow, if you're going to the gym and things like that, your brain is the same way. And it's a muscle, but the muscle requires oxygen in order to perform at its highest level. The truth is, most humans don't take in enough oxygen. We don't. If you ever want to just prove my theory, next time you're just sitting there by yourself, notice how shallow your breaths are or how much you're breathing in. And then taking overly big breath in and out, and I guarantee you'll feel different instantly, okay? So the first technique in dealing with anxiety or a panic attack is to give the brain what it wants, oxygen. And if you've ever been in a training with me, you know that we start most trainings with circular breathing. So what is circular breathing? Circular breathing is basically a constant flow of in and out, right, in a controlled time period, right, to provide consistency and give oxygen to your body, more importantly, your brain. So 3 to 5 seconds, doesn't matter. In 3 to 5 seconds, hold 3 to 5 seconds, out for 3 to 5 seconds. Now the key is this: you want to go in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. This is really, really important. In through the nostrils and out through the mouth. So we'll go in through the nostrils. And notice I'm taking a really big breath, right? I want to fill up my lungs. I want to feel my chest expand. And I'm going to take in more oxygen than I probably ever have in my entire life. And that's okay. If you don't get a little boogers in your breathing in, then you didn't do it right, okay? You're going to hold that for 3 to 5 seconds, and then you're going to let it out for 3 to 5 seconds, okay? And then you're going to hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and you're going to do that again. Repeat that process over and over as many times as it takes. The key to knowing you're doing it correctly is this: within the first 2 to 3 times of doing this, or cycles of doing it in and out, you're going to feel some tingliness in your body, right? You're going to feel it all the way down. You might even feel a little lightheaded at first, and that's okay. Keep breathing, because the more you breathe, the faster that nausea or lightheadedness is going to go away, the more oxygen you're going to get to your brain, and it's going to calm your nerves, it's going to calm that anxiety, and help lift you out of that panic attack. Your brain is going to go, oh my gosh, we're getting oxygen now. This is amazing. Now I can function properly. It increases the capacity that the brain has to take in all this information and deal with the stress or fears or whatever it is that's causing the anxiety or panic attack. The second technique is what I like to call attitude is gratitude, right? And if we don't have gratitude in our lives and we don't focus on the positive things, our brain is going to constantly think about all the negative things. If you really think about it, we're constantly in a world that is producing negative information, from the news to clickbait online to how your friends talk and treat each other to politics and religion. We're constantly taking in all this negative energy. So it's good to remind our brain that there's a lot of positive. And sometimes those are just the smallest things. So this technique requires you to think about 3 things that you're grateful for. And they don't have to be big things. They can be very, very small things. For instance, I may say, I'm grateful for the cup of coffee I had this morning, right? And the time that I had to myself to reflect on who I was in my day and my week and my month, right? It could be, I'm grateful for the dinner I had last night with a loved one or a family member, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but you need 3 things. And as you think of the 3 things, hopefully that was an experience, and you can go back in your mind and replay that experience. It's going to provide gratitude, it's going to provide positivity, and it's going to trick your mind into going from all that stuff that's negative into something that's positive. So finding 3 things you're grateful for, replaying that experience in your mind. Oh man, I can't believe that dinner last night. It was so amazing. I'm so grateful for it and the conversations that I had with that person. Or I'm so grateful for this morning for that cup of coffee. I can just remember sitting there, and maybe I was sitting on my patio and intaking it and listening to the birds, and there was time and peace for me to be able to be who I was and really reconnect with myself and my day. That's the experience that I want you to go through. The third technique is a little more difficult, and it's one that takes some practice, because let's be honest, when you're in this state of anxiety or having these panic attacks, sometimes it's not always easy to focus on a way to get out of it, right? You get stuck in there and you can't find your way out. It's like a maze and you're just constantly hitting walls and you can't find the exit, right? So this third way takes a little bit more practice, but if you can learn how to do it, this will absolutely cure your anxiety or panic attacks every single time you have them. And that is opening up your senses, okay? We have senses. We have hearing, we have sight, we have smell, we have all of these feel, touch, we have all of these different senses, right, that we don't really take advantage of. We actually take them for granted. We actually don't use them as much as we should. And the truth of the matter is that while our brain's taking in these 2 million pieces of information, right, it's taking them in mostly through our senses, but we're not doing it consciously. So sometimes it's good to remind our brain and ourselves that we are seeing a lot of these good things and we do have senses that are open. A lot of times that'll take the focus again off of whatever's causing that anxiety or panic attack and put it into something more positive. So what I mean by this is, let's say for instance, I'm having some anxiety or maybe a small panic attack, and let's say I'm sitting outside, okay? Let's just say I'm sitting outside, or maybe I'm walking or something of that nature. I'm gonna look for 2 or 3 things to really focus on. Maybe that's a big, beautiful tree, right? And when I see that tree, I'm gonna see the beauty, and I'm gonna think about how long that tree's been growing and all the years and how magnificent that is. And then I'm gonna start to hear the leaves, blowing in the wind. Maybe I'm gonna smell, maybe it's a pine tree or an oak tree or something that just has a really nice smell to it, and I'm smelling it now. Maybe I touch it, right, and I feel what that tree feels like. I'm opening my senses to other things. A lot of people too will open their senses to auditory things such as music. So sometimes when people are having anxiety or panic attacks, they'll put on headphones to some sort of music that calms them, or something that they really like that takes the focus again off of whatever's stressing them out or whatever fear they have that's causing that anxiety or panic attack, and allows their mind to refocus and come back into control. So these are 3 techniques that you can use, guys. And I tell you, all 3 of these work. The last one will work 100% of the time, but a lot of times if you can just do the breathing technique and circular breathing, 99.9% of the time, that will at least allow you an opportunity to step away from that anxiety or panic attack and regain control, because that's what's important, okay? Remember this, fear is an emotion. It is controllable. It's not easy to control, but we absolutely can. And that's something we'll talk about in another video. But stress is something that we have to learn how to deal with, and we have to learn how to manage it properly. So in the short term, use these techniques. In the long term, learn how to manage the stress. It's not always easy. And again, we'll talk about stress and fear in another video. But for right now, use these techniques to help get you over the hump, regain control, and not have so much anxiety or these panic attacks in your life. Guys, I hope this helped you. And I hope that you will take these techniques and you'll use them. They're very, very, very valuable to have. And again, it takes some of you actually going out and doing it when you have these or experience this anxiety. You actually have to stop yourself and go, okay, I'm going to breathe now, right? You have to be able to will them. But if you're willing to put in the work, I promise you these techniques work. So I hope that you'll use them. I hope they'll help to you guys. Go forth, be awesome, be epic, be legendary. Big Country out.